Well, welcome, Naraya friends and family, to the New York edition of Fireside Chats and Dancing from Afar. As 2020 comes to a close, and with the rebirth of the New York dance, to start over again during this time when the country is forever changed, and the dance is forever changed, because we are all, for goodness knows how long, dancing from afar. It looks like it's going to be into next year as well. And we will cover that in other subjects, in other dancing from afars. But this is the last dance of our cycle. This is the last dance of our year. And as you know, we've been dancing from afar now for a complete cycle, from start to finish. We remarkably had a in-person dance in the spring of last year in February in the Northwest. And that was our only dance, and the Spirit protected us in that. And since then, in the circle of this of everything, we have now come to the winter season and our final dance of the year, which is New York. And the people that have revived the New York dance, because it was undergoing a crisis. It was undergoing it had to have a rebirth, put it that way. And people have remarkably stepped up to the plate. They have remarkably taken the reins of not only the spirit keepers. There's 3 of these individuals, and all ladies of various ages, and also the bundles being well cared for up in Maine by Deb Bickford, until we have a dance in person again. So let's talk about these wonderful ladies, Joni.
I think that the way I would talk about them is I would spell this group Women with an X, WOMXN. It's the most current version of how we express the full range of genders within that falls within the scale of women. We have women with an X of 3 different ages and life experiences.
Yes.
We have a grandmother, that would be Jan Wiley. We have, whom you might remember from having brought a wonderful Lakota grandmother, Ina May, to us. And that was the last ceremonial experience of her life, in addition to having been the first in 20 years. So yes, that's a beautiful thing that Jan brought to us. And now she has found herself woven into the dance the way the dance likes to do with people. We have a mother of a wonderful boy, Zephyr, one of my favorite people, Carol Fiorito. And she probably of the 3 has been dancing the longest. She was the treasurer in New York until she stepped up to vision keeping. That perspective that you have as a mother is unlike any other. But our 3rd vision keeper in New York, Gray Fisher, what a wonderful being. She's really active. She's a doula. She's really active in communities, indigenous and not. She's really active in the youth communities. She's really active in what we would refer to as the Two-Spirit communities. She is a non-binary gender person. And really what she brings a really powerful perspective, because among other things, one of the things I don't realize people know about our younger generation today is how much they've taken a good look at what doesn't work in this system, and they have just started to apply ways of doing things. They're not a generation that hangs back and waits for things to get handed to them. They get up and get out and do. And to that end, she's really used to organizing groups, used to mediating in situations. She's really the balance of the 3 of them is really exceptional. And, my hands go up to them for that in a great way. And I think that that's been offered to us by the Spirit as a way of really revitalizing the original reborn dance. which
Yes, and that's a 30 years. Yes,
30 years.
that's a
Where did that,
big.
how
I
did
don't
that
know. That's a
happen,
big
Clive?
undertaking. I don't know. I don't know how that happened. And but it just did, and they've had to step into the not only the energetic and spiritual parts, but also the practical logistics of putting on a dance. And there's been, of course, people helping them. There's been all kinds of elders that have stepped up to the plate with them to mentor them, or if they have any questions, to let the elders know, and others too, not only elders but others too, to support them and to kind of lift them up, give them what is needed in the way of support, no matter what it be. The Core New York Council is a tight-knit family at this point, and they're helping each other, which is wonderful. That's what needed to happen.
That's so true, Clyde, that actually the call was actually written over the course of a few meetings with everyone in the meetings. And they really, and
Yeah.
you know as well as I do, that is no mean feat, but they were able to gather the best of everyone's contributions and various and sundry experiences, and then put them together and then bring them to some of us to say, okay, are we missing anything? How do we make this clearer? What goes here and there? But what's gorgeous is something that I think Christina DeMarco, who's been dancing a long time and has been doing puppetry with me for a whole lot longer than that, and teaching young people as an artist, she said that was the most beautiful experience that she had had in any group in her lifetime. And she's a grandmother.
Yeah, the one thing that speaking of the tight community of New York, after a year of doing this, New York Council is now not just comprised of people from New York or even people from the East Coast. It's a good-hearted people, elders and dancers from all over the country that love the New York dance and want to see it grow.
To me, that's a real reflection of New York City in a, the one they say, the city so great they named it twice, and all of its trials are just as great. That the incredible energetic and collaboration that reflects New York is now reflected not just in the way that New York dance has always been populated, which has been wide and far flung, but now the community is tightening as a community, even though it is physically far flung.
I think we're doing things that we never thought we'd be doing this time of year last year. Just like the whole concept of dancing from afar was something that we didn't really even think about. There was people that wanted to join in. We told them how to tie in to the dances, the various dances, but it was on an individual basis, not a whole dance of people doing this. So it's a new ground. So shall we talk a little bit about how this is going to happen?
One of the things that is being highly encouraged is that you gatekeep and register as soon as possible, ASAP, because that's how you get the bulk of the information you need that for the specific dance. The Dear Dancer letter that they're sending out is packed with information. The way that they've thought about the dance really reflects connecting everything together. Charles generously offered to do a burning in a way that could include people. There is without actually them being physically present. The burning is being done on Anne's land. There will be a short Zoom component in Charles's home before that, just to connect people. Charles has asked people to send names and the prayers with tobacco, and that will be burned for the people that normally a plate would be made for. That doesn't mean there are not going to be any plates, but that there will be that the bulk of the prayers for the people that people would normally make plates for will be done, and they'll be connected to through that tobacco.
Marvelous.
So it's really beautiful that that's happening in that way. And it is the first day of the dance. So that's Friday.
On Friday.
Saturday is dance day. Saturday, there will be an extremely small number of people traveling to the actual trees. Bob and myself, the Vision Keepers, Charles is coming up for that, and John's our fire keeper. What I'm thinking about making sure to emphasize is that it could be fewer people because we've all agreed that if COVID numbers go up or anybody for any reason feels like they're at risk, not to come. There are no extra people coming. That's how that's moving. And that really, and all we are is what we were since Tennessee, the taproot through which energy moves to and from out of the tree, out to the people and back. We're going to hold that space and do what's needed to be done for the ancestors and the old people.
And that will be done at the Grove of Trees, the various Naraya trees that we've used throughout the years. We've got quite a little grove growing out there.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and they're in really beautiful shape.
Yeah. It's a beauty. Looks like some kind of a spruce, and beautiful new growth all over it. Very, very healthy.
Where will the bundle be during this period of time?
The bundle is not leaving Maine. They've just had an ice storm. I wouldn't expect much travel for them for a while because that's sort of typical for them. But Deb will be hooking into us through the bundle from her home in Maine so that she will be, and she won't be the only person who's tapping in from there supporting. There are several elders, I want to say 7 or 8, and Puhugan that have been asked to pray for the people at that time and help to hold that space. Once again, it becomes really evident that you don't have to physically be connected to be integrally connected. We said that for years, and now we're having to live it. And I think that's a very good thing. New York took a page out of California's book because California did something that hadn't really been done before, as I can recall. They actually tapped 2 or 3 folks to be on call, elders and medicine people to be on call in case somebody's having a hard time in their home where they are. They can pick up the phone. It's just, you don't know where you're going to be in that moment because the dance is so powerful, and we're increasingly learning just how powerful it is from afar. So if people are really giving their hearts to it, focusing their spirits and giving their hearts to it, we'll talk about focus in a little bit, they're going to tune in, and this dance is about change. Stuff is going to come up. So this is just another layer of ways in which we're learning to take care of one another at a distance. We're just doing everything we can possibly do so that everybody is safe and cared for, as given our distance, in the same way that we would if we were physically at a dance. But people, again, are encouraged to jump in, gatekeep, which is obligatory for this dance.
And that is in progress right now.
Yes, people are gatekeeping. I think they also took the step of offering gatekeeping, including the consideration that people might want to gatekeep with people of like experience. So they have gatekeepers that anyone can go to, but they have gatekeepers, indigenous gatekeepers for indigenous people if that's what they feel like they need. They have, I'm going to spout the whole thing, LGBTQ2SIA. I know that whole thing now, right?
Well, good.
They have non-binary and non-gender specific gatekeepers for people who feel like they want to talk to someone who has their experience, someone who has something in common with them. And that's something that's never been done before. It's an intriguing concept. And
it's a first. We'll have to see how it goes.
And okay. Sunday is described as optional, although honestly, I would highly recommend that people do it if they can. Sunday is an optional Zoom component where people can come together to share their dance experience. So, that's the same 3-day dance that we do. But what I think is important to think about is that they're paying a lot of attention. The community is paying a lot of attention to how you come to the dance and knowing that how you hold yourself and take care of yourself at the dance is how you will be with yourself for the rest of the year. That's pretty much a quote. And so they're really asking people to be very conscious that if you attend the burning, that you do your best to thread that experience through to your dance the next day. If you attend, and then when you attend the dance, that you attempt to thread that experience through to the Zoom the next day. So they're asking people to begin to apply consciousness to their experience so that it doesn't feel piecemeal.
Yeah, it's a full meal deal. Like you said, it's like a complete dance if you were there physically.
Yeah.
And since it's energetically running those 3 days, what I would probably suggest is that you make room in your busy schedule for that you step back from social media and your phone and, and take time in the name of self-care and focus on your inner work that you're doing for the dance. That would be my suggestion. You can take it or leave it, but like you said, it's going to be a full meal deal, one thing after the other each day, and to keep yourself centered and in line with what is going on during these times, these events in the Dancing for Afar New York version, that you perhaps do that. Everybody needs a break, and especially one this time of year. And it's important because we're ending a cycle. We're ending the old year. The snow's here. Things are going to start renewing and coming alive again in the spring. But right now we're in that period of hibernation and that period of a lot of what ifs. And that's the thing right there. What ifs, and it's time to pull back when you're doing this. Pull back and concentrate on yourself and what you need for yourself and for the dance and for the people that are close to you, and and actually the whole world in a way. Yeah. So there we are.
So there are a few things that we were asked by the Vision Keepers to make sure that we brought out to attention in the course of this Dancing from Afar that are associated with the dance. There are a lot of questions about sealing your circle. And even though we talk about this in every dance, I realize that we also get asked about it every dance. And so when we talk about making your space and yourself sacred in that time and sealing your circle, you'll see a separate clip on that after this fireside chat. So as you're going through your dance, when you step into your altar and you seal yourself in and you smoke everything down, and as Clyde always says, you can't do that enough because it's layers and layers of protection. You're being encouraged by the New York Dance this year to create a vision arrow. They're encouraging that this year. And their big encouragement for that is not because it's going to suddenly disappear into the bundle, but precisely because we are dancing from afar, that vision arrow can provide a really powerful focal point for your prayers and your intentions, because that's exactly what it is, right? And
yes.
Taking that and the picture that's always provided in every dance of that tree, but that combination of the visual of the tree and your physical vision arrow in your hands really provide a way for you to physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually make the connection you need and maintain it through the ceremony. As always, we will be singing the songs at the tree. Songs are not sung away from the tree. However, you may sing songs that have meaning for you personally, if you are so moved. We always have started in the past when we first go into the circle, after those bundles go in and get settled, we've always acknowledged the directions, and we're being reminded in this case to do that again. When you step into your circle, remember that what you've built for yourself is a physical altar that you're stepping into the middle of. And so calling the directions is a way of saying, I am here, I am ready, come and see, come and help. So that calling those directions, do it the way you're used to seeing it done in the dance. If you're a baby or a new dancer and you've never seen that done before, in Shoshone Way, we start in the east where the sun rises. We
Yes,
turn
that's right.
and we turn sunwise
The south.
to the
Yes.
south.
To the south.
We turn from there to the west. We turn from there to the north. We swing around and acknowledge the sky. And then we reach down at last, Tamapia, we reach down and we acknowledge Mother Earth.
Yeah, the sky is is personified as the father,
Dhamma.
or the male equivalent, Dhammanapa, and the earth is Dhammasogabia, which is the earth mother that we live on. And yeah, so there's that you can do, or if you have a tradition where you call in the directions, because some people do,
Okay.
it would be easy to do what you know best too as well. This isn't something that is kind of cast in stone. There's a lot of different traditions that have that calling of the different directions and stuff, and so that's good. One thing that we always have in the dances that I miss so much with having the dances from afar is that banter, that laughter that you get from a circle, from just having stories that the elders tell, and conversations with people, and because laughter is a medicine, and it lightens up and greases the wheels of the whole deep inner work that we're there to do. So don't be solemn. I don't know where people get the idea that Indians are so solemn. For a fact, Joni, attending the ceremonies, not only the Naraya, but other Indian ceremonies all over, that there's crazy things that happen in there that just split people up. So, don't let that solemnity, don't let that solemnness get in the way. Let there be joy in your work and laughter in your work that you do during those 3 days. Because that's part of it. That's part and parcel of it. And like you say, that's the grease of the wheel that makes things work.
Mm-hmm.
So remember that too. So what else have we got to cover on this now?
I think there's two other little things. Well, they're not little,
Okay.
but to me, they kind of go together. The other one
Yes.
is buddies. That
Oh,
is
yes.
something that was born and raised in the New York dance. And
Yes, it was. There was one of their things that they did. Yes.
The permutation of buddies this year actually has a couple of different ways that it actually works because we're at a distance. But in the effort to reach exactly for that kind of banter and connection that you're talking about, Clyde,
Yeah.
they're asking everybody in the dance to take responsibility to contact another dancer and establish them as your buddy. They're not assigning them. They're not standing people up in front of the tree and saying, who'll do this, who'll do that. You are responsible to reach out to another dancer. And it's fine if some people have the same dancer. It couldn't matter less. What it's really about is interweaving community and also providing a place for common ground experience sharing. If you've been through the dance and the next day you come up and you're feeling a little strange, or you're feeling exceptionally happy, that you have a place for that the first person you can call is pick up the phone to your buddy and say, wow, on the heels of that dance, I was almost hysterically happy. It's an opportunity for you to look after each other in a one-on-one way, but it is something that you are taking responsibility to do. And if you, for some reason, if you're a new person, if you're a baby, which we lovingly call all new dancers for all kinds of reasons, it comes from the Northwest Coast tradition, but I love that feeling that, especially as I'm expecting a grandson, I love that feeling of babies, right? And if you're a baby in this dance and you can't think of anybody that you could share that with, ask them to help you find somebody. Ask your gatekeeper to help you find somebody. They might know somebody else right near you that's dancing. They have access to that information. So really what this is in many ways is an effort to create that kind of interweaving and connection that creates community that you would have physically at a physical dance. And that also it creates a layer of common ground and protection because you're able to look out for each other. If you hung up with your buddy 2 days before a dance and they're okay, but 3 days later you still haven't heard from them, pick up the phone.
Yes.
Look after each other. That's what we're asking. I mean, we all say, you know, what the world needs now is love. Well, like, show a little love. So I think the final thing that I'm just remembering now that wasn't on my list, but it was in our conversation, is the knowledge that intentions are being spoken to the tree. All of the intentions that people write down are being spoken to the tree the same way that they are in a live dance. If we were in a live dance, we would be saying them each and all ourselves, standing in a circle, holding hands aloud for everyone to hear. And that's, you know, but we would really be talking to the tree, witnessed by everybody else standing around. You may not have that witness standing with you, but know that your intention, which goes on the information when you register it, everything is put together so that nobody is left out. Those intentions will go to the tree and they'll be spoken at the tree. So that's another great reason to use your vision arrow to connect, because if your vision arrow is your intention and it reminds you of your intention, you may find you want to speak your intention to, you know, aloud over your vision arrow as, you know, in the course of your dance. Think about that. There are a lot of ways you can connect, and the object is really, especially as we step into the deep of winter, and we also are stepping into a hugely significant at all kinds of level period of time around this particular solstice, including an 800-year occurrence of a Christmas star. I don't know if you guys know about that, but it's an amazing thing. And in
amazing, 800 years, every 800 years. None of it's by accident. None of, you know, this, as I always tell people, there's no such thing as serendipity. Things happen, and they happen in a sequence and a purpose, although we might not be aware of it in our own little minds, you know. So that's good. Well, I think we've covered all the bases in this discussion. I think so. These people that have come together to form this new New York dance are a wonderful group of people, and they've done they've really stepped up to the plate, where a lot of these people they didn't really have any idea of what they were getting into, but they were called by the Spirit to come in and step up, and so here we are. And I think it's going to be a marvelous ceremony and a marvelous dance. And maybe we all walk in and be guided in the way of the blessed. And I think we're going to have a marvelous, marvelous time. So thank you for joining in our discussion today. Hope you've learned a few things about the New York dance, how it's going to go this time. It's going to be a marvelous experience for us all. So take care until we talk again.